He became known as the pink-shirted cowboy. And he didn't wear his pink shirt tonight, but that's okay. Carl Cosack came to Canada from Germany in 1975 to work the ranch land his father had bought years before. And according to Carl, it was just in time for me, him, to come over and live my dream of either being John Wayne or Clint Eastwood. Either a good guy or a bad guy, whichever is best suited to me. Carl was just named the local hero of the year, just received the award. I know he's shaking his head because he's very modest. In the Hills Times publication. And the whole group, everyone who came together, First Nations, farmers, foodies, community organizers, and activists, all won, what was it, their official award is the Best Activist Campaign of the Year award by Now Magazine recently. And I just wanted to quote a couple things from the winning of their award before Carl comes up. So, quote, "There are not a lot of victories these days, but the mood-altering blocking of the monster quarry in Mega-Quarry Township in Potato Country a year ago was a brilliant model of how to get stuff done." And so I've invited Carl to come and share a bit of his story of how the Mega-Quarry was defeated and to link it with a little bit of our own experience and a bit of a quarry battle we have right here in Guelph. So thank you, Carl.
Because taking time out is really how it all started for us too. Community meeting was called in Mega-Quarry Township, North Guelph County in January, and for all of you who know where that is, calling a public meeting in January is pretty crazy. The first highway that's closed is the one right running by the community hall. And you know, Mike is funny about the pink shirt because he doesn't remember that I do my own laundry. And it's been just so busy, I'm all out of clean pink shirts. So the overriding sentiment you get from me is that, number one, public involvement is key to anything that means anything. And B, such gratefulness, sincere gratefulness to the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have taken the time to make this an issue. And not because he's here, I talk about Brother Danny all the time. With regards to the leadership provided by initiating the walk and the leadership he provided to me in always taking the high road. So, in essence, we never engaged in procrastination or how we got to today. We just knew what we could be doing tomorrow. And there's a lot of good energy to be had when you look forward and say, okay, whatever happened, happened. We know, but this is where we are today. Take stock and drive forward. I got to love Brother Danny for me personally for a whole bunch of reasons. He sent me an email the other day and called me a really good savage, and I thought it was just the highest compliment that I could give. I'm just really, really proud of it, so I take it everywhere. Connection to Mother Earth, he recognizes that most farmers have that just because by the job that they're doing, we're just out there, and we're missing that connection between rural and urban people. And when I say that, the only thing that can come to mind immediately to all of you who have followed this just a little bit is the crazy 28,000 cousins, brothers, sisters, and nephews who showed up at Foodstock in Mega-Quarry Township, which has a population of 2,800 people at best. So just think you're going to have a giant party in Guelph that would bring that increase in population to the city of Guelph. Wouldn't you get notice? It's time to party. Some things that really were clear about the Mega-Quarry issue was because I ride horses for a living and I have a really abrasive nature, people like Mike took me aside and Peter Tobbins from the NDP, and gave me some pointers to just calm down some and be a little bit more politically correct. And what that all really did for me is it showed on how non-partisan this issue of protecting Mother Earth really is. If you are a liberal or conservative, NDP, Green Party, if you're human, you ought to care. No, it is just that simple. So the message has been grown, and even so, victories might be far and few between, but it's changing. And to me, the most significant change that happened was when Site 41. Who all knows about Site 41? Yeah, you would, of course. So, for some 20 years, with everybody else having already signed on, this group of people, led by the First Nations and the farmers up there, took a stand and said this is not going to happen. The county had already permitted it. The Minister of Environment had already permitted it. You name it, everybody who had a say said, yeah, this is what's going to happen. And it didn't happen. So if you ever think about the little guys, don't have a chance, or why should I bother? We lost anyway. Let me tell you this. In 2009 at this public meeting, if there were 500 people at that public meeting, I heard 499 times, why do you bother? The proponent is the 7th largest hedge fund in the world. The decision has already been bought and paid for. Why do you bother? You bother because it's the right thing to do. Thank you. The Mega-Quarry was tremendous on all fronts. I have to talk about food stock just a little bit because it is such a far-reaching thing to get together in June, sit with your naked feet in fast-running water, watching the little fish, with Michael Stetlander, president of the KHS Congress, well-known kind of guy, and say, okay, let's have a dinner, invite some city people to highlight what this is all like. Sure, you know, we have had barbecues for 50 people, not a problem. Next week, invitations went out to join 20,000 other people at this party. To organize such an event when all you really do is ride horses was a humongous undertaking, and so many people have helped, and this is where this all ends up, is that if it matters to you, you put the love and the respect out, good things will happen. Don't be discouraged. In Guelph particularly, I'll get to that in a moment, you have a lot of good things going for you. So as this event unfolded, and it was hectic between getting the food organized and police involved, getting 7,000 parking spaces. Who has a party in October? In a bush. Crazy people. The week leading up to that Saturday, I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday, I was pretty much at my wit's end. We had our first 6 inches of snow. The wind was howling. Melanchthon is as flat as a tabletop, which is really great most times, unless the wind is blowing to that extent. I hooked up with Brother Danny and I said, brother, I am just scared out of my pajamas, because if nobody shows up, the proponent will think that there is no support for this. And we had no idea. We just put this invitation out saying, pay what you can, bring your own cutlery, and we're going to have a meal for you. And he said, brother, you worry too much. You know, you're just a white guy. You just got to get smarter. Ancestors are working for us. It'll be a beautiful day that Saturday. After 5 days of cloud and rain, Saturday morning showed up, and the sun rose in the east, and it was a beautiful day. You know, just long enough for everybody to get into their cars and drive up north. So that's how the Spirit can be working. Last thing I'll say about what I learned from Brother Danny and Mike and Peter Tobbins and others who have so capably, the Green Party in our riding, Dufferin, has had some terrific candidates in Rob Strang, bright, bright, bright people. And it's really nice to talk to people that can truly elevate an issue without making it about themselves. You know, there's some real gratitude and there's some real weight to the words that they impart on you. And that is that we didn't engage in the name calling, and we changed our mental attitude from fighting against the quarry, which is sort of the natural thing that happens. We fought, with guidance and advice from Brother Danny, about our good air, Mother Earth's lifeblood, clean water, and good local food. And I tell you, if you're ever engaged in anything, and you can turn the same mission into something that says to you, it's a positive thing rather than a negative thing. Oh, energy comes from all kinds of places. It does wonderful things for the psyche. So, fighting for water, fighting for something, brings all kinds of other people into the realm of thought, while everybody, we're all humans, we're tired of against and down and negative, and we see enough of it. So, in your thoughts, when you go and take this thing forward in Guelph, keep that in mind. That small group of farmers that started that up there, I have to tell you one small story about just integrity. And I have lots to learn about integrity. So Ralph Armstrong and Mary Lynn, they're two. She is 2 years older than he is, and I don't know why I knew that, but at one of those local speeches I made mention of that. So now when I go to Ralph and Mary Lynn's, the cookies always bypass me. He has not forgiven me that I made that public. So just think, Highlands ended up starting to buy massive amounts of land up there with some support of local people, under the pretense of being potato farmers. All good. Ralph and Mary Lynn sat there, have 200 acres, no kids following them, and the $2 million check lying on their kitchen table. I can say that because it's public record. And they didn't take it. You know, I'm a lot younger than Ralph is, and that's a challenge to your psyche. And where the integrity part comes in, it's very simple. They thought about it fully. It's also public record, so I'm not telling you things that I shouldn't. And then he said, if all your life you lived with the principle of caring for your farm, you water your trees, and all this other stuff that farmers do, or engaged in all kinds of things, you principally cannot give it up for money. At age 67, instead of cashing the check, he gave it back. Boy, so when I had these moments when you're being pushed along by thousands of people to do better, to write better speeches, to do more appearances, do this and do that, if I have those moments, I think of Ralph and Mary Lynn, and I say, man, if he can do it, I can sure as hell pull my socks up and fight for Mother Earth. So, good deal all around. The prime culprit here, and this is where I want to look for some help from everyone and all your networks, is very simple. The culprit here was the Aggregate Resources Act of Ontario. Yeah. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago. Tamara, right?
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. The Aggregate Resources Act, we have a piece of internal communication from Baupost from Boston, Massachusetts, saying they picked that location because Ontario has the weakest regulatory environment for resource extraction in Canada. Just think about it. This is what the rest of the world looks at our province to. This is not okay. The Aggregate Resources Act, due to public pressure, was reviewed by an all-party standing committee, means all party, in this case, all parties represented at Queen's Park, which excludes the Green Party right now. And the review was awful. What came out of it would still allow the Mega-Quarry today, even though the Mega-Quarry sparked the review. And the sad thing is that my MPP, Sylvia Jones, PC, it's her riding that was to be host of the Mega-Quarry. We had oodles and tons of conversations and engagement with our political representatives. Thousands of people, just think about this. She was the PC, one of the PC representatives on that party, on that standing committee reviewing the Aggregate Resources Act. Signed off on it the way the review went, and then sends me a letter and says, well, I'm really proud of the report. Sorry you don't like it. Well, Sylvia Jones, I tell you right now, my vote and the thousands of others will not be in your ballot or on your ballot when you're running. And that's the nice part about these sort of big public engagements. We have a common goal here. We have a common goal of reforming the Aggregate Resources Act so that the strife in rural Ontario is not as evident as it is today. I get every day an email, phone call from somebody who is fighting an issue somewhere all around aggregate. This is not okay. This is not okay. Government and policy and regulations are supposed to not allow this to happen. So, rural Ontario is asking itself, maybe in Guelph you're asking yourself as to who is looking out for the farmland and the water in Ontario, and shouldn't it be there to foster, number one, the lives of people and nature, and have a much more congenial way to get along with each other. That's where food and water first comes in. Mike is raising his eyebrow, so I'm out of time. And I love to have questions so that...
A couple more minutes and then I'm going to cut you off.
That you can, I'll be here so you ask questions, so you get some answers to the stuff that really matters to you. Food and Water First, great website. We have from Bay Street to the City of Toronto to Melanchthon Township to farm businesses to insurance companies, all kinds of organizations supporting this change. It is not against aggregate, it is for better planning. We all need aggregate, we all get that, but we sure deserve better planning where we are today. As far as Guelph is concerned, you're miles ahead, so I would suggest two things to you. Support City Council, because they're fighting the water taking permit. It is from an outside looking in, unexplainable how MOE can issue a permit for them. Unexplainable to us. So there's two things that you guys can do. Support the people who are standing out front and keep pushing them along and kicking them when necessary to raise the issue. That's one of them right there. And the other one is raise with City Council the issue of third-party insurance. So we're bringing that out more so, and this is what third-party insurance is doing. The precedent to us has been set by the Premier, by the Council of Premiers and Territorial Leaders who went to the federal government asking them to ensure that proponents, in this case rail companies, have enough insurance to cover unforeseen mishaps. Of course, this comes out of Lac Mégantic. The Canadian taxpayers on the hook for some $200 million to try to fix, because there is no money from insurance and the company who caused such grief. So third-party insurance would mean to me that the Guelph Council, that's a municipality, the town of Guelph, of a third-party insurance policy, should anything go wrong with the proponents thinking that there's money to fix it. Third-party scrutiny there to give money away. And it will raise the level of scientific proof and the demand for it from the proponent to levels we have not seen before. So keep that in mind. That's a good thing to do. Council needs your support. It's just that simple. We see it at home. Yes, I'm quitting. First little while we engaged arguing with council, and then we found ways to get them on our side, or to at least not fight with them. There might be a difference. They have lots of things on their plate. Do support your councillors that are standing up for you and standing up for the water involved. And that's it.